Hello, this is Kathy Beatty with Divorce Support Anonymous. Thank you for joining me tonight as I step into your world for just a few minutes to give you some tools, techniques, some hope, and some help. So, I have been working in the divorce world for the past 19 years, holding groups, became a divorce coach, and after that, I became a mediator. So, about the past 13 years approximately, I have been mediating cases, domestic cases. And I want to talk tonight, in fact, about mediation and the advantages of it. It's really one of my favorite topics because, let me get rid of this here, because I have seen it work for the last many, many years. And I have seen how people resolve their issues and minimize some of the damage that is occurring through divorce. Now, this is my motto and my mission is to guide people through the trauma of divorce with the least amount of damage emotionally, financially, spiritually, and physically. There is going to be damage, but how can we minimize that? And I believe mediation is one of those ways in which we can. So, we're going to talk about mediation tonight. And we're going to talk about how mediation can save you money, headache, time, and resources. First, I want to stick in a Bible verse. The book of Proverbs always brings us great wisdom, and this is no exception. The prudent sees danger and hides himself, but the simple go on and suffer for it. So many times I have seen people who push forward using their emotions, driven by their emotions to hurt the other party and end up really being foolish and helping and hurting themselves and their soon to be former spouse. So how do we be prudent and watch for danger? One of the ways is we have to watch our emotions. We have to look at our relationship now, and this is so sad, but it's so honest that when you are going through a divorce, you have to look at this in a business sense. Now, I'm not talking about parenting time, but all the assets, debts, retirement, all of those have to be looked at with a business sense. And that's hard to do. It's hard to shift your mind from that because this has been a person you have been intimately connected and covenant with. And now you have to look at them in a different light. That's why you need a divorce coach. That's why you need a support group um, to help you realize that and to work through that. So let's talk about mediation, how it's going to save you money, headache, time, and resource. So mediation is an opportunity for two people, for you and your spouse to come together and resolve all of the issues of divorce. So you can solve all of them, but sometimes there's one or two sticky points that you cannot agree on and therefore needs to have the court decide. But mediation allows you two to have the say in how this is going to be done instead of standing before a judge who glances over the facts of your life and quickly makes a decision that neither one of you may like. So, mediation gives the authority and the power to the parties to make these decisions, and you can resolve all of the issues or at least most of the issues in divorce. So that's one way because you're going to save time. You're going to save time and energy if you come together. A lot of people will have their attorneys with them. Some people have go into mediation without their attorneys. Either way works. And I'll explain as we go forward without how mediation will work when you go without attorneys. So again, you and your spouse can decide how to divide all the assets, debts, and how to parent the children. Now, there are guidelines that you can be used from friend of the court or from the courts that help you. They provide a template that is going to help you as well. However, let me speak to you quickly about this workbook, which is a free download that I offer to anyone who requests it by email. I can't send it through Messenger or through text, it's too large. But this workbook is going to help you decide how to divide those assets and debts. And so this is about a 45-page workbook that I send to you. You print it off and you can go through it, and it will help you determine how to divide give you considerations on how to make those decisions of how to separate. So you and your spouse can decide how to do this. And then you can decide what is in the best interest of the children on how they will be parented. Now, I know I'm running through this and it sounds pretty cold and heartless, cut and dry. Of course, it's not. But I'm limited to so many minutes. So I want to really just give you an idea of how this process works and gladly talk with you offline about this, or shoot me a question right now if you have one. So you and your spouse are going to decide that instead of the court deciding that, and you can decide parenting time and all of the issues of divorce. You can mediate without attorneys. Now, let me talk to you about this. If you are able to communicate with your spouse during this process, it is possible that you can come into mediation without your attorneys. Now, as a mediator, I can't advise you legally. I will not advise you legally. So, how do you get the legal help you need? Here's what you do. You come into mediation without your attorneys. The two of you decide how to divide the assets, how to divide the debts, how parenting time is going to work. I or your other mediator is going to write up this document with your signatures. It is legally binding. So what you do is I write up all of the agreement. You do not sign it. Each of you go to a separate attorney, have them review this document for any legal implications that may not be to your knowledge. There may be tax implications, there may be penalties, things that you need to know before you sign this document. Because once you do sign it, it is enforceable and legally binding with the courts. Excuse me. So, yes, you can mediate with attorneys, but I always highly recommend that the parties get the agreement and go see an attorney to review the document before they sign it. So, how is that saving you money? Well, you're saving you attorney fees. Forgive me. I had a frog in my throat. Time of year, spring does this to me every year. So, this is going to save you money because you don't have the extensive attorney fees that you would if you come into mediation with your attorney. Now, your attorneys can go through all the discovery process, all that you want them to do. But remember, you dictate. You are hiring the attorney and what you want done. So before you jump into an attorney's office, grab this workbook, fill it out. If you are able to be cordial enough with your spouse to come together and work through these issues, resolve them, you can do that. And you can save literally thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, I will tell you, this workbook right here is going to save you thousands of dollars if you fill it out and do your preliminary work before you go see the attorney, or perhaps you don't go see the attorney until after the agreement is created. Before you sign it, you go to an attorney, have them review it, and then with your signature, you can create a judgment of divorce, submit it to the court, and have your divorce final. So there are many ways in which you can minimize that damage financially. And again, that's what I'm all about. How do we minimize that damage financially, spiritually, physically, emotionally? Well, that is one of the ways that you can. Now, the courts are going to recognize and honor the agreements that are signed by both parties. So once you get this created, it is a document that is legally binding. And I say that repeatedly when I am in a mediation without attorneys, because I don't want any surprises for you. That's always my goal. How can we do this so when it's all completed, there are no surprises? Everything is completed and you know what to expect in this process and what your future is going to look like. That is incredible, incredible value. So, are there ways that you can help yourself minimize the damage? Mediation is one of those ways. Now, there are other processes. You can go to an attorney from day one and have him guide you through it. Some people go to collaborative divorce, and Collaboratives when you have the attorneys, you have the mediator, you have a financial person, you have a child, advisor or therapist with you. Quite frankly, and I might make some people unhappy with me, I'm not a fan of collaborative because I want to save you money. I want to save you time, headache, and heartache. And so for you to find a competent mediator is going to allow you to come together to take care of the business that needs to be taken care of. Now, in my workbook, there are also several templates to use for, whoops, wrong one, sorry, to use for parenting time. Because I'm sure you were wondering, well, how in the world are we going to figure out parenting time? There are templates within the workbook that are going to help you. There are different tools online that the courts provide for you to determine child support and all of those issues. So they can be resolved. There is going to be a time when you need attorneys, and that is really your choice. If you start day one with an attorney, that's great for you. If you go into mediation without attorneys, that's great for you. So it really is up to you and how you want to proceed. Now, if you wonder, I don't know if mediation will work for me and my spouse because sometimes we get along and sometimes she blows up or sometimes he's unpredictable. Well, here's what you can do. You can come into mediation and see how far you can get. Sometimes I don't resolve all of the issues. Parties don't resolve all of the issues, but we have a handle on some of the issues. Sometimes it's a partial. So we are creating a partial agreement. Again, same rules apply, but there are one or two things that we cannot determine. That's going to be left up to the court or come back from mediation and we'll try it again. But mediation is rarely a bad move because if you don't resolve everything, you're going to resolve some of the things. So be prudent. I know the emotions run high as you go through divorce and you really don't know which way to turn. That's why you need to give me a call. I have the first hour at no cost just to talk with you and get you the tool, get you started in this process. But remember this, the prudent sees danger. There's a lot of danger spots in divorce. So many times, so many places that it can go off the rails. So be wise. Don't be simple and go forward and suffer for it. So this is Kathy Beatty, and I hope something of this presentation, what have we been, 13 minutes, has been of help to you. Please feel free to reach out, request my workbook, request your free hour consultation with me, and let's talk about if you want other services. My next group begins May 7th. It is hybrid, online, and also in person in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Connect with me and let's see if that would be a good fit for you. This is Kathy Beatty with Divorce Support Anonymous, walking with you every step of the way through and after the trauma of divorce. Have a good evening.